This week's going to be a little different than normal. Rather than a pre-game video for a nation, this is going to be a pre-age video because, boom, 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 after about, I don't know, 70 weeks of making Dominions content, we have now reached the late ages. Quite a jump here. One that's been a long time coming. I know there's a lot of people looking forward to some of these late age nations. I'm really curious to see how people receive these. I know about a year ago or so, I did a poll asking which age people liked, and by far the winners were early and middle age, with late age greatly behind. So we're just gonna talk about the different ages, what the differences are in brief, and then we're gonna dive into the late ages a little bit more. Starting in the early ages, I'm going to read off their little blurb here and then we're going to talk about it. The early ages are full of magic and civilization is at its beginning. At most places, iron has not yet been thought of, and armor and weapons are made of wood, stone, and bronze. Mages are powerful in this age, and there's abundance of magic resources. It is a time of legends. This is an age, I think, dominated by really strong mages, high volumes of gems, legendary creatures like giants and monsters and things like that. Big sacreds, lots of sacreds. Strong priests can be part of that. A lot of going on there. This is an age where castles are the rarity. Only a couple nations are actually able to make them. So oftentimes you're running around with just forts, generally speaking. You have low-ish money. You have low-ish resources, and you're struggling to afford mages because they're big and powerful and expensive. But when you get your mages, they are really powerful. Oftentimes, you're held back by the speed you can research, not the mage needed to cast something. There's a good plethora of different types of magic pathing in here. Some blood, some death, some astral, lots and lots of elemental and other sorcery paths. Quite a bit. We see lots of glamour troops still around. The Vanniers, just all the different glamour type troops that we have. Lots of giants, etc., etc. Moving up to Middle Ages, a big jump happens here. Civilization has continued to make progress, and modern technologies like iron are available to most nations. Mages have lost some of their former power, and magic resources are not as abundant as before. In this age, castles have now become the new standard. Population levels have risen. In a lot of cases, people have moved away from blood. We have more money. We have better equipped troops. Already, if you are a nation that is still using stone and even kind of bronze, you're already kind of getting left behind. If you are a nation who has crossbows, you are at a distinct advantage, and things that otherwise would have been super powerful in the early age are frankly just a pincushion to those crossbows. Big targets are easy to crossbow down. If you are a big high protection thing, but you don't have a big protective shield in addition to that, you're easy to crossbow down. Troop numbers are starting to get higher. Big heavy cavalry is coming around. Big heavy infantry is on the field for several different nations. Many nations, if you're on an unfortunate arc, have been displaced. They're starting to wane in power, although others are ascendant in this age at the same time. So this is an age of turmoil where some of the big players are either gone or they're getting destroyed because their big mythical creatures are getting wiped out and humans are replacing them. If you are a human nation in early age, you're probably doing a lot better in middle age. Let's take, say, Ulm, who went from kind of Germanic barbarians into like high Gothic German heavy black steel troops. Very big power jump for you there. Going into late age, in the late ages, iron and steel are readily available and used to arm most troops. Magic resources have continued to dwindle, but mages have become more organized, and their knowledge of different magic paths is greater than ever before. So in late age, now we have citadels as a relatively common thing to build. So you have really heavy fortifications that are very hard to siege down. You have humongous amounts of gold as population has swelled. You're going to have big armies due to that. However, most of the mythic things, if you have something left, it's like a cap only or a sacred. You don't just have like recruit anywhere giants for most nations or things like that. There are exceptions, of course. For mages, a lot of them actually are pretty good at research compared to what you would have seen in earlier ages. So you can research through things a little quicker. And in addition, because you have a lot of citadels, that means you have a lot of commander points. So you can actually get more commanders, aka more mages, out quicker, again, speeding up that research. However, at the same time, you have very few gems. A lot of nations have had to resort to blood or death or astral. Communions are a lot more powerful. There's a lot of blood going on. The other sorcerer paths and elemental magic has dwindled a lot. So you'll have a mage where, like in an earlier age, they'd have something like every elemental path and astral and maybe nature. Well, now it's like they have like astral and 100% chance to get an elemental or something along those lines. So much weaker. Although conversely, you also have mages that they don't go as high in a single path, but maybe they have 2 or 3 that are like okay. So more stringent, organized mages, but nowhere near the crazy powerful mages we've seen in the past. Crossbows are very ubiquitous. They're just everywhere. A lot of nations have really standardized their armies quite a bit. So you'll see a lot of crossbows, a lot of heavy armor, a lot of troops that maybe like, they're not maybe even as heavy, but like you can afford them a lot more. So you'll just have more like a regular standing army type thing going on. It's definitely a different feel for it. I'm really curious to see how the AI does in expansion. When we moved from early age into middle age, we actually had to tweak how we were doing thrones. We had to bump the AI difficulty. I don't like how the AI's difficulty goes up by cheating in extra gold. However, without doing that, we were running into a lot of nations that were struggling to actually expand at all in the Middle Ages. If they had like some heavy cav in their cap circle or something, they just could not do it. So I'm really curious to see how much of effect we're going to see in late ages. We're not really going to see as big of a protection bump as we did between early and middle, but I don't know the indies very well in late age, just in general, and I have not played much late age in Dominion 6. So this is going to be a bit of an exploration there. We'll see. Hopefully the difficult AI will be able to go there, because as you change that difficulty, you change the gold balance, and nations that are gold constrained become much more powerful than they otherwise would be. Let's go ahead and hop into late ages here. Between the 3 ages, in early age, there are 35 nations. In middle age, there are 37. And in late age, there are only 30. Now, not every nation has a direct through line like we have EA Ermor, middle age Ermor / Scalaria / other offshoots. And then in late age, we have Pythium and Lemuria. Not everyone has straight through lines like that. Some nations are one-offs that are just out of nowhere, although I don't think we have just any like super newcomers here. I'm just eyeing that while I say it. Not really. We are all basically successor nations at this point. In Middle Ages, we had things like Ind, who were a kind of a newcomer to the age, but here, these are all people coming out of a history, some of which have been for both previous ages. I think what we're going to do here is we're just going to kind of 1,000-foot look through the different nations. I'm just going to throw out some thoughts there. I'm going to babble away at things. What I'm really curious on is, what do people think about the differences moving from middle age to late age, or just the 3 ages in general? What do you think are some of the best nations in late age and the worst nations in late age? One thing right off the bat, we only have a couple watery nations. Water nations have just been completely dominated by Relay, and we'll talk about that more as we get to them. But we started with, 4 or 5 in early age, and we had 3 or 4 in middle age, and now we are down to, I think Relay's alone in the ocean. I don't even think, yeah, because they're coastal. So quite a few nations have been wiped out by those squiddy boys. Okay, let's go ahead and just start up at the top here. We have Arcasaphal. Here in late age, we have fully embraced those kind of heavy hoplite type troops. We still have our pretty heavy cavalry. 15 is pretty decent, although again, we're not really seeing like a huge jump. Here's 14, here's 18. Like, we're not seeing like 25 or something ridiculous. Whereas between early age and middle age, a lot of nations jumped from like about 10 to about 16. We're not seeing that same jump here. In fact, we're seeing a lot of standardization across nations. If we look at the mages here, we're not going to do this for every nation, but I just kind of want to show off what we're talking about here. So here is a Nature 1, Priest 1. We have a Mystic here who is a Death 1, Nature 1, Glamour 1, and then we get a random of Fire, Water, Earth, Astral, but only 50%, and then a 50% some Sorcerer Path. See how weak comparatively these mages are? Here's our Mystic. In the early age, this guy would have had every single elemental path or darn close, plus some randoms, plus possibly getting some Astral. He's down to a 100% chance of getting Fire, Water, Earth, Astral, and then 3 separate 50% for Fire, Water, Earth. Much, much different mage, but at the same time, 12 research ability for 150 gold. So not even very efficient, but relatively high. We'll look over here, just a Priest 2, and she is a Nature 1. Ooh, Carcass Collector, that's going to be fun. Yeah, I think that's the end of their mages, right? Oh no, and Civil. So a Astral level 2, Nature 1, Priest level 2. So you can see these mages aren't nearly as wide as we've seen for Arctocephalia in the past. So quite interesting there. Next up, we have Phlegra. This is coming off of Phlegra in the Middle Age and Makoni in the Early Age. Now, this is a nation that actually does still have a couple of mythical things. So we have the Cyclope Commander, and we have a Cyclope Smith. The Commander is actually not even a cap only, although the Cyclops is. And we have the Cyclops Soldier, but limited recruitment. Otherwise, basically just humans. And as you can see here, we have a Crossbowman. We have I'm going to call 15 a heavy for the purposes of what we're talking about here. A 15 and an 18. Very, very standardized type troops here. This nation's really cool because the Burning Mountain actually will blow up, and we're actually going to get a crazy tyrant unit. Very, very interesting, like super combatant type unit we can recruit. But this is much more of a standard lineup that we would expect to see. Pangea has made it all the way through. Although you'll note, we have lost Asphodel and we have lost Oceania. So Pangea is the last Minotaur standing. And again, we finally have embraced a little bit of iron, and we have fully moved up into bronze. In fact, I don't think they actually had any stone left in Middle Age, but we are definitely fully metallic at least. Our big sacred here, the Dryad Hoplite, very cool unit. If this dude was EA, this would be incredibly powerful. As it is, they're okay, they're good. But you can really see like the lineup here. This is the same dudes, although we have changed out. We have a sniper now who has a crossbow, noticing a theme here. We've gotten rid of the longbows we used to use. Even our Centerbride has a crossbow. Our Minotaurs here with the iron gear, pretty cool. Looking snazzy with that cape there, brother. Pretty nice. Still though, primitive forts. This is becoming... Having this in Middle Age was having this in Early Age was a problem. Having it in Middle Age was more of a problem. And now we're in Late Age with citadels, and you are still building primitive forts. You're not going to have a good time of things. Pythium, this is one of our successor nations from Urmor, one of our through lines, still maintaining kind of that Roman infantry type units. We have really merged in with the Sarmatians. We have those Hydras and kind of a poison theme here. One of the larger rosters actually of nations. We still maintain those gladiator units that are so good. We actually have the Sacred Hydra that everyone just really wants to make a thing. Maybe in Late Age we can finally make it a thing. Still one per turn though. So is what it is there. Although the little ones are at least sacred this time too. We have the Serpent Cataphract with his plate halberd and 18 protection, nice heavy cav. Although being a serpent, kind of slow side for that. Very fun nation. One of my surprise enjoyers when I played this one through 5. They have some really interesting mages. A serpent priest can do some sacred serpents. Um, yeah, just a really, really cool nation here. We have Lemuria. This is, I believe, yeah, Scalaria's final gasp here. So now we have fallen all the way down. We don't even have skeletons anymore, as you can see here. We're down to just ghosts. We have just, yeah, our free spawn. So now we are down to just spectral ghosts. We don't even have the bones anymore. We didn't drink enough milk and just wasted away. A cool nation, one of those hated ones. Everyone hates the pop kill nations. Very fun one. I think I enjoy Lemuria, I think, more than I like MA, Ermor, or Therados in EA. I think they're probably the best of them, although I definitely could be swayed differently there. Scalaria is probably the best. Very fun nation, very, very killy, an interesting one to play. Man has actually made it, so Man from Middle Age, pretty direct through line here. They have picked up crossbowmen, even though they have also maintained their longbows. They still have their wardens that we saw before. We still have our tower knights. I don't know if you're as good as a Knight of Avalon, but still decent. We have Ulm, the Black Forest. Ulm has really fallen quite a long ways here. They had a huge civil war, and the Knight of Treason, did not go well. Just as a hint, we have Ghoul Guardians that is our cap recruit. We have undead ghouls that guard our castles to tell you how well this is going. Our Black Templar with 23 protection heavy cav, wields a Morning Star, very, very cool. If memory serves, we're summoning in vampires. Basically, Ulm got taken over by vampires. So, like, we have the Blood Marshal here. Very, very cool. A nation that I think is one of the more fun nations. Vampire Countess, very good. Very, very good. Of course, we have a Great Bear, because why wouldn't we? And of course, he's not sacred, because why would he be? As you can see, though, lots and lots of vampire. These are going to be national spells that we get. But even if we go down to our infantry, like Infantry of Ulm, we have lost the ability to make black steel plate. We actually have regressed in technology. Our heavy infantry now is down to 14. So we definitely had high watermark in Middle Age for poor Ulm. Agartha, continuing that sad decline that they have been on since early age. You'll note here, we're down to just humans. We don't even have an Agarthan left. These ones here are down to doing lots of necromancy, and we actually do, like Flame Barrel Nightmare. Like, we're doing like undead constructs at this point. Flame Corpse, same thing here. Very, very cool. A fun nation. Again, I like the Agartha line a lot. I'm really looking forward to these. So these are humans that have kind of adapted to living in the cave. We have Blind Fighters. That's our sacred here. So a 21 protection sacred unit is pretty darn cool. He's blind and he has spirit sight. An interesting unit to be sure. And I also really like Cave Knights. Again, just a cool cavalry. Are they the best? No, not really, but I like them. They're fun. We still have our good crossbowmen. We have a heavy crossbow, actually. 13 piercing damage. Pretty ridiculous. We have a special Agarthan steel crossbow. Pretty darn nice. We also have sappers. This is something you're going to see a little bit more of, is units specialized for siege. Again, we have those huge citadels that are just going to be an absolute pain in the butt to have to crack our way through. Next up, we have Marignon. So Marignon was, I guess you'd call them a successor out of Ermor. Like, part of them came from them. Part of them came from, like, the, I lost their name. Or Pig Boys in EA, kind of mixing together. Now we are in full Inquisition mode, whereas we were like holy sacred warriors, kind of, sort of in Middle Age. We have fully embraced the Inquisition and blood magic, because why not? Let's make a pact with the devil if we're going to be Inquisitors. That'll end really well for us. So pretty darn cool. See if I can find some of those really interesting units. We have navigators. We're also doing like sea exploration in this area. We have admirals, master of mirrors. Again, just 2 glamour and 110% chance for these paths. if you told me this was an EA mage, I would laugh in your face for how weak he is. But in late age, a pretty interesting unit, to be sure. Missing is our great heavy cavalry. Still here are our flagellants. Still pretty interesting there. The Hand of Justice is our heavy sacred. Castle defense bonus, patrol, sacred heavy infantry with a halberd. I mean, look at this unit. Note, this is a well-trained but human chassis. 23 damage. Halberds are ridiculous. Abyssia still hanging in there. Another nation similar to Agartha who's been dying throughout all 3 ages. You'll note here we are basically down to humans, barring our Warbred, who isn't even sacred anymore. That is how far these guys have fallen. And I think they're one of the more pure Abyssians. They are very much, yeah. Here's a couple. We still have the Warlocks hanging around, doing a lot more crossbreeding. It's not good. Fire, blood, astral, death, some earth. Very prototypical of what we're going to see a lot of nations doing. We have Raga. This is a offshoot from Kalum. And this is an interesting one because they are a nation that likes, well, I shouldn't say they like, they have both a heat and a cold side. So you get these ice clads that you can only recruit when it's cold. And then you have these Zaedans, one of the best sacreds in the game, arguably. But you can only recruit them in the warm provinces. So a lot of people, rather than actually play the mechanic of like having 2 different sacreds, they'd probably just bump it really high into heat. So you always get these guys. An absolute unit. A dude riding a griffin, and he's a heavy infantry by himself. And we have male barding. So absolutely ridiculous. One of the best sacreds of the age, I would say, by far. And of course, we still have Kalum troops, although, yeah, I guess we still have ice crafting, don't we? Does everyone get it? No, only the Kalums get the ice weapons. So a cool one here, to be sure. We have Kalum still around, and we do have Return of the Raptors. So a little bit of a attempted resurgence, but it's not happening. It's really not happening. We look up here, we have the Harab Elder, 2 air. We have the Seraph, 2 air. Look how far we have fallen from our Eagle Kings, which could have had 4 or 5 air paths in early age. Sad to see it. We have Gath, the last of the giants. Hinnom, again, how far you have fallen. We're down to having like 1. I think you're an Avite, technically. Oh, maybe you're not actually even technically an Avite. We only have 1 Avite-like troop left. We do have a Sacred, the Gibor, who is still a giant, although he's down to size 6, so he's a small giant, to be sure there. Still pretty good, still interesting, but how far we have fallen. And we have these Levite Zealots. I believe these are Recruit Anywhere Sacreds. So interesting there to have something like that, although, I mean, like a medium infantry with bronze gear, I mean, that'll be interesting to see. Patala, this is the final form of our ever favorite ape nations. They've been taken over by Naga. That is their ultimate fate, and enslaved by them. Some interesting units. They have Naga warriors, and they have these Nagas. I think, yeah, capital in all caves. This is our cap only. So we do have a interesting recruit any cave unit, which maybe we could make something happen with. I see he has no armor on, so probably going to be looking at something defensively to help him out there. And the interesting one, because we have a ranged hypnotized stun and a poison spit. So interesting there. Otherwise, a lot of the same monkeys we've been seeing throughout the ages. I think this is literally the same troop since early age. That's not a good place to be. Even if you were a good troop in early age, it's late age, my friend. And you're still running around with a mace. That's a little embarrassing. Gurus make it. Still basically the same guru, I think. Yogis make it. A great unit. So, yeah, monkeys get enslaved by the Naga. Not a great place to be, frankly. We have Tian Chi. Tian Chi has been invaded by not Mongols and definitely has fallen. The early age Kung Fu Wushu replaced by the bureaucracy, replaced by the Mongols. And I think this is one of the nations that has probably had the worst time of the rider-horse split. We have these ancestor vessels. This is our cap-only sacred. If we look here, I guess they gave him Cataphract Barding. That's not the worst. That's not the worst. Still, though, light scale with no head armor. Yikes. Yeah, for a nation that should kind of be a cavalry nation, that's a bad lineup. The Sacred's okay, but these two, yikes. Composite bows are not crossbows, although, oh, and we lost our crossbow. Oh, Tianqi, what happened to you? How sad is that? How sad is that? They still have some tricks up their sleeve, but yeah, that's a bit of an oof. Medium, and here's our heavy. He's okay, but I mean, a 13 damage spear, I'm not impressed. I'll say that. It's okay. At least you have a tower shield, I suppose. We have a Khan. Again, not sacred, though. Running around with our composite bow. I don't know about that. Yeoman. Again, I really like the Yomi line, and this is our final form. Yeoman, as a middle age, would be very good. As an early age, would be overpowered. As late age, they're okay. They're okay. We have this problem where our Sohi and our Yamabushi sacreds, we have a sacred that is undisciplined. I mean, katanas are good. I'll give him that. Or we could go with the Sohi with his Naginata. It's good, but nowhere near as good as they could have been. You'll note here we have longbows, no crossbows. We have some really cool underwater recruits, but we're going to struggle to get underwater. And we really, really, really want to get there because we have these Ryujin, can only be recruited in underwater forts. Very powerful mage, actually. This guy is a heavy hitter of the age. 3 water and a plus 2 100% of fire, air, earth, or nature. Very, very powerful mage for late age. You definitely want to get underwater. My proudest multiplayer win was actually with Yeoman. Very, very proud of that. And I had a thug Ryujin that basically won the final like battle that was going to decide the game versus a bomber sacrifice Xiaoboba build. And so like all these bats are swarming him and exploding in his face. If I remember right, he lived with 1 HP. Like the high point of Dominions for me was that battle. Shout out to my friend as Xiaoboba in that one. But again, you look at these other mages, Earth 1 and 100% of 5 paths at level 1. I mean, that's pretty ouch. Like, you really need Earth 2 to do anything, and we only have a 20% chance to get that. Ouch. Astral 2, that's decent. This is our heavy hitter of our human mages, I believe. Yeah. Well, both of these. But Yeoman is a relatively magical nation, so good for them there. You'll see down here, humans, we've lost our Bakemono. We have the Akaoni Samurai. This is a human. Don't be confused by his name. A decent human, but yeah. Not having shields, not having crossbows, that's a bit ouch. That's a bit ouch. And this is an expensive unit for a human. Mictlan. Oh, poor Mictlan. We tried to go clean, and we have relapsed back to the blood. And we've relapsed back real hard. Blood. Pretty sure you can get blood. Yeah, we have completely reverted there. We're back to Jaguar Warriors being our recruit anywhere, and Eagle Warriors back to the capital. Although I believe one of these is sacred. No, I guess not. This guy. We do have a Rain Warrior, so still have some of those weird Atlanteans that we picked up on middle-aged Xiaoboba. Now they have joined in at Mictlan, and not a very great unit, but it does give us some ability to get underwater, which we have the Rain Priest. Very cool. I do like the Toady Boys. So again, though, 2 blood. Pretty good mage here, though, actually. Water 3, 2 blood, 3 priest. For late age, pretty darn good. Xiaoboba, in my opinion, much regressed. Middle age is my high point for them. I really like the Froggy Boys. We do still have some, but the Womooch This was similar to our Sacred in Middle Age. I don't think he's exactly the same, or even if he is, he hasn't changed. He didn't put a hat on. He still just has a hide shield. Decent weapon though, still. Something there. We got a lot of our Zots are back. The Zots have retaken control. We have Satis Desert Tombs. I believe these have already taken a nerf in 6, and I believe people are really clamoring for another one. Reason being, we can summon in Tomb Worms. These are summoned like our Temple Serpents in ages past, but they are undead, and they are undeads that are sacks of HP. So oftentimes you'll see people take Blood Vengeance and like mended bones on them, and very, very strong, very, very powerful. In addition to those, do we have the unit here? Yeah, the Tomb Charioteer. We can summon these guys up as using priests to reanimate. Very, very fun. Another nation that I played in multiplayer, and I think ironically enough, this was another one of my wins. Apparently, maybe I am good at late age. Yeah, just really fun. Undead free spawn chariots. Turns out that you can actually make chariots work if they're undead and free spawned, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna want to be reviving these. We're like waking up the mummies essentially for a lot of these units. And these guys are going to be able to summon in our other undead. We look at our lineup up here. We have the Keeper of the Tombs, Fire 1, Death 1. Remember back when we had Sorrowmancers that were like Death 3 or 4, just straight up? And this guy's slow to recruit. Slow to recruit, Fire 1, Death 1. Ouch. Here's our Sorrowmancer, still Death 3, so he's got that. He's got a little bit going. Can go up to Death 4. But he's old now. You know, he's slowing down after a couple ages. I believe we still have the poison. Yeah, the poison slingers. So I can kill my own troops. You gotta love that. Midgard. This is the end of the Jotunheim lines. Or no, excuse me, the end of the Vanheim lines. Still kicking. Still have a little bit of glamour. Notice I haven't really been saying the word glamour a lot here. Still have our skin shifters. They will probably still be decent. Although, again, this is the same troop we had in Middle Age. So he has not really progressed here. No crossbows either. Volva. Astral 2s are pretty decent recruit there. So pretty interesting there. I think these ones are all right. Again, though, air, astral, blood, earth, death, glamour. Bulgarus. An interesting nation. I don't know if they're really the best. We have, where is that weird? Yeah, we have the Fivefold Angel. These are not angels. These are like flayed dudes. They are part of a cult. They have damage reversal, which is like the step up from Blood Vengeance. Blood 2s. They've taken over Rus. The Rusian lines are sacred. You're not our sacred. Where are you? Yeah, the Kilst, I believe is how those are pronounced. Yeah, they're like religious fanatics that whip their own bodies, cause unrest. Very, very interesting. I like these guys actually, but again, no crossbow. And yeah, I guess 14 protection's okay for late age. He does have a nice big kite shield. So that's something there. I believe they also have, yeah, recruitable Holy 3s that are not slow to recruit actually. So interesting there. This is kind of sort of pulling in like the Eastern Orthodox Church vibes. We have Utgard. This is the final bit of Jotunheim. Still have giants, so good for them. They did make it, although more and more humans showing up. We have the Garmhilding. And okay, sacred. They do berserk, which is kind of nice. But note 12 protection. We're a size 6 with 38 HP and 12 protection. A crossbow is going to eat this guy alive. It's going to hit him and act like he has like 5 protection. It is going to absolutely shred this dude. We have Vettenheim. I have only played these guys once. They came in at like the end of 5. This is a nation of Veti, who are like the little goblins. If anyone watched my Age of Wonders 4 stream that I did with Giant Kings, we had a Giant King that was leading around a bunch of Veti, which was our kind of our theme here. Wolf Brothers, Wolf Riders, Wolf Cavalry is exactly how you think it would be with our 12 piercing damage spear. Oh boy. We do get Rimveti as a recruitable sacred. These are really good summons in earlier ages. So That's something, I guess. And even up here, we have the Jotun Gaija, and not a lot else up here. Yeah, and even she, look at those paths. A lot of it's into the randoms now, rather than just straight up power. We have Femini. These we saw a bit of. This is one of the successor nations from Ind. We're going to have several of those here in a row. This is like a, I don't want to say Amazon because that summons up like a kind of a Greco-Roman type thing, but an all-female group. Quite interesting. They have that hidden domain thing that's kind of whatever. Veiled ones are interesting. They have spetums as their weapons, which are pretty decent, and they are wearing plate cuirass and a half helmet, and they're glamour troops, so very interesting there. If we look at their Sage Queen, 3 astral, 3 glamour, fire. That's a pretty strong mage that is not relying on randoms. This is immediately a Twilight mage, just straight up, or a Light of the Northern Star mage straight up. Although she is old. What else do we have? Yeah, Fire 2, Astral 2. Astral Fires, anyone? We made use of these a little bit in our end stream. Things did not work out well in that stream. So hopefully we'll get to do some more of that here with Femini. I guess I should also say, I don't believe they have crossbows. Yeah, unfortunately, they're wielding short bows. That's a big oof. That's a big oof. But they do actually have decent line troops. So a broadsword and a kite shield, 15 protection, that's fine. We have Piccone. If you like the little Piccone dudes, now we have a full nation of them, including these bird knights. We literally ride birds. And, yep, we have lances. And we're wearing plate, because why not? Okay, magic pathing, although not particularly high. We do get the Piccone Pope. We have a little Pope, just a little Pope. And he's a priest level 3 non-sold recruit, so that's kind of nice. And our king here, the Prester King, keeping the traditions alive of Ind. Earth 1, Astral 2, priest level 3. Interesting. Piccone Defenders, combat speed 2. I don't know of any other line troop at combat speed 2. If you know one, let me know, because that's hilarious. I believe we do have crossbows. Yes, we do. Although we are a little bit weak with them. Better than nothing, though. We have Endramania. Hey, do you like the Sinos? Because now we have an entire nation of them. Very, very good. I have not played these. I'm saving them. I had to leave myself a few treats. You know, when you've been doing content for a game for over a year, you have to leave a little bit of something to look forward to for yourself. Howler. Oh my goodness. Chaos Recruitment. Oh, this is going to be crazy, isn't it? Serene One is our Sacred. We have a Great Sword and a Bite. Plate Cuirass. And we do have a helmet. Excellent. Excellent. Good dog. Good boy. That'll be really fun. Size 4. So maybe a larger Bless. That would be pretty ridiculous for that amount of HP. Maybe we'll go like really greedy and we'll go like larger and regen or larger and enchanted blood or something. A senatorial guard. Okay, so we've got a little more Roman here, it looks like. And these are actually formation fighters. Interesting. So we can get 3 halberds to a square. Oh, that's disgusting. That is disgusting. And they're still in plate with a helmet. And a second attack. Wow. Those are going to be fun. What's your mages like? Okay, we are pretty light. Well, no, these are fine. Again, a lot of nations are going to have to communion or Sabbath up. So, yeah. Although, geez, look at that price. Holy moly. Are you cap only? Sure are. Yeah, totally looking forward to that. Pirene does make it through. Although, again, another nation that has been falling for all 3 ages, essentially. Yeah, the Cambion, the demon breeds have taken over. Yeah, so Revenge of the Goats, basically. Yeah, look at his mount here. We have the Black Goat. We actually use them as mounts now, instead of actually summoning in their little blood demon boys. The Sorinas, look how far they have fallen. They already were corrupted, I believe, a little bit into blood in Middle Age, but they used to be like storm spirits, and look what she's been reduced to. Air 1, Blood 1. fire, air, and blood for randoms. How far you have fallen. We have Erythrea. This is an interesting one. So this is what I guess Pelagia has become. Again, they were forced out of the water, and now we are, Pelagian coastal kingdom. Did you ever want Egyptian incest mermaids? Because I got Egyptian incest mermaids. Very, very weird nation. We have these Prince of the Setting Sun. What a great name for a unit, by the way. And these dudes will spawn in insane. I believe they also can be afflicted with inbred like afflictions, and they like to kill each other because they will marry a princess, and I believe they upgrade into like a different unit if memory serves me. Kind of like we had with the mummy couples from Middle Age Nazca. Again, she's insane. Insane just means they do like random things sometimes, like just destroy your temple, or just refuse to move, or just go blood hunting for whatever reason. Very, very weird. We do have this. This is a really cool unit, a crossbowman, and he has a Gastra Fetis. This is an underwater crossbow. So that is very, very unique. Very, very cool thing to have here. Other than that, though, Soldier of the Setting Sun, this is our Sacred. I mean, with Formation Fighter 18. This is actually pretty decent. This is actually pretty decent. Does have a magic weapon. Yeah, that'll be a cool one. Not terrible. Triton Knights, keeping the aquatic dream alive. It's just you, man. It's just you. Everyone else is using digital downloads, and he's still playing the 8-track. I respect it. I respect it. Do you even have... Okay, do you at least have bronze gear? He does. But, I mean, that's setting the bar pretty low there. We have Atlantis. Atlantis, one of the nations, I think this is up there with Agartha for just absolute pitiful sadness. They lost their war to Relay, and they were pushed out of the water, and they were forced to basically live in the Arctic. So you have these poor little cold frog boys forced to live out on the ice. They hate it. Ironically enough, probably the best version of Atlantis. We have the ice crafting of not Salem. Why am I'm blanking here. My bird boys, or my boy of Calum. Oh my goodness. We have the ice crafting of Calum. So very, very powerful if we're in the heavy cold. And we have the magic ice weapons for the magic weapon damage. Great counter to Lemuria. So one of the nations that doesn't worry too much about them. An ice glaive is a great weapon. Unsleeping, yeah. Void Sandy, we need this because Relay has Insanity Dominion in late age. So that'll be fun to deal with. Otherwise, still using early age coral gear. Yikes. That's a bit of an oof. That's pretty bad. And Relay, the winners of the Sea War, if you can call it such. Yeah, can summon void beings, get additional insane profits. Our Dominion kills Pop, creates dreamers and madmen and void beings, makes all non-voidborn beings apart from the Pretender insane. So we will drive even our own troops insane from that. It is ridiculous. Starspawn still kicking, still pretty strong astral mages. So overall, you can see a lot of nations they're on the downturn. They're dying out, or they've stalled out. A couple nations, maybe a little bit of a come up for them, but not a lot of them. Not a lot of them. We're seeing a lot more astral. We're seeing a lot more blood. Maybe a bit more death. Maybe a little more ancestor worship and things like that, like with Tianchi. A lot less big mystical sacreds, but still quite a diverse cast here. Quite a diverse cast. I don't think there's a lot of like horrifically bad nations here. I mean, obviously some are better than others, but a lot of these look really fun to play. Like they've really distilled down the cool things. Also, for a lot of nations, you'll notice, I think like 15, 16 is still the average protection to hit. So we have a lot of troops with better weapons because they're using iron or steel. we have things like glaives and crossbows on a lot of nations. So we're not quite as worried about that heavy infantry for a nation, say, like Asphodel, who's still using like stone weapons on some of their troops. That's relegated to just a couple nations here. I believe Miquelin's still rocking their garbage. Bronze spear. No. Oh, there it is. The final stone spear. He's just not giving it up. Keeping that dream alive there too. But otherwise, just a really, really good cast. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play. Relay, and to a lesser / equal percent, Lemuria are kind of the bad experiences to have to fight, just like Middle-Aged Ermor and Asphodel. But I don't think they're quite as bad per se, although Lemuria can be pretty bad. Their pop kill's really, really high. Relay's annoying to deal with because you can't cure Insanity. So those are the two nations most people want to team up and wipe out. But otherwise, a lot of really interesting nations. Things like Mindhunt are pretty viable here in Arco. We still have a few giant nations to play. You know, I like those mystical type things. Some of our all-time favorites, Agartha, Abyssia, Calum, all making it, Tianqi, making it through the ages. One of my favorite things about Dominions is just watching these nations evolve. Atlantis, another good example there. How far you have come, whether it's ascending or falling to Apocalypse, to like some of them have. Yeah, I love the lore and the story of these nations going forward. Okay, so that's just been a very 1,000-foot introduction to Late Age. Like I mentioned at the beginning, let me know your thoughts on just the age in general, and which nations do you think are the strongest / weakest / what are you just looking forward to? I think I have an idea of who I'm going to play first. I'm not even going to announce it yet because I'm not 100% decided, but yeah, we still have another 30 nations to go, so please look forward to it. We have, we're not done yet. We are not done yet, builders. All right. That's going to be it for this one. Next week, I will be back with a regular pregame video, and we will be starting in on Late Age nations. For the stream this week, if you are current time, that we're going to do our Middle Age tier list. So that's kind of what I wanted. I didn't want to do a pregame video the same week I did that, so that was kind of my thoughts of popping this one out there. Hopefully this was somewhat thought-provoking. I'm kind of trying to harvest some feedback here on this one. If you enjoyed this video and videos like it, don't forget to leave a like on the video. If you are not yet a subscriber, I hope this is the video that has earned your subscription. And if you'd like to go above and beyond to support the channel, we've been doing a year of Dominion Plus, and by the time we finish here, we will have worked on Dominions for 2 years, basically. I really appreciate people with the super thanks, joining on a stream for a super chat, or considering becoming a member. As a member of the channel, you get early access to videos that are usually Dominion's pregame videos, but it's also whatever else I'm working on at the time. And that really goes a long way to supporting me. It lets me justify my time working on the content. I put a lot of hours every week into the Dominions, trying to make it better, trying to get information out there, trying to facilitate conversations. And I appreciate each and every one of you, even if you just drop in and say hi. Love to see you on stream. Look forward to it. All right, that's going to be it. I'm out. I'm rambling. I'm babbling. I will see you guys on stream. Look forward to the tier list. Come in with some thoughts. Look forward to it. Babble out.